Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's so good to have you here again. If you aren't subscribed, please do not leave without subscribing, because on this channel I teach you how to do simple and beautiful DIYs in the comforts of your home. In this video, I'm going to show you how I created the sleeveless top with ruffle collar neck using this beautiful satin fabric. Please make sure you watch this video till the end. Starting with our front bodies, we'll be drawing our shoulder line. From that point, we'll go down by 23 inches, which is the total length of the top, plus 1 inch hemming allowance to make it 24 inches, which I've cut out here. The neck measurement we are working with is 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. It's because I want it to be so close to the neck. Okay, I'll make the curve that has formed our neckline. From the center front, I'll be measuring half of the shoulder, which is 7.5 inches. So I'll mark 7.5 inches right there. I'll come down by 1.5 inch for the shoulder slope, because I want it to sit properly on my shoulder. Then we'll draw a line to connect the points to form our shoulder slope. From that point, I'll go down by 7 inches instead of 7.5, because it's a sleeveless top and I don't want it to open at the armhole. I've connected the points to form the armhole length. Now I've made my chest line. I'll be imputing my bust measurement, which is 36 divided by 4, and it gives me a total of 9 inches plus 1 inch ease and 1 inch sewing allowance. I'm measuring half of the length of the armhole, which is 3.5. I make my mark. I'll go in by 3/4 of an inch. I'll mark it. Using my ruler, I'll connect it to form our armhole. Okay? Please, if you're not familiar with the basic bodies, I advise you to watch my basic bodies tutorial. It will make you understand it better. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm just going in by 1.5 inches because it's a sleeveless top. So I'll make the armhole. I've made a new armhole there, so that's the new armhole we'll be working with right now. I'll make the back armhole as well. I'll just place the ruler, the curved ruler again, and give it a little bit of allowance and make the curve. I'll be marking the shoulder to waist measurement. I'll put my mark, I'll go to the other side, do the same thing. Connect the 2 points together. That has become my waistline. I'll go down also. Total length of the top, 23 inches. I'll put my mark. At the other side too, 23 inches. Then I'll join it together. I'm just marking my waist measurement plus 1 inch ease and 1 inch sewing allowance. I'm doing the same for the hip as well. I'll connect these points from the armhole or chest line to the waist and to the hip. I'll make my curve at the hip. I'll make the back neckline. I'll go down by 1 inch and make a curve. So we have formed both the back neckline, front armhole and back armhole. So I'll add 1/2 inch allowance at the shoulder. On the hemline at the side seam, go up by 1 inch and connect to the center front using your pattern master to form a curve at the hem of the blouse. Unfold is our back bodies. Alright, and I've already created 1 inch joining allowance at the back. Remember, it's not going to have any zipper, but we're going to shapen it by putting the allowance. Okay, I'll place the front bodies over it and cut out the back pattern. After cutting the back bodies, we'll separate it from the front and finish up the front bodies. by cutting out the neckline and the armhole. Placing the front bodies over the back bodies, we're going to be transferring our waistline measurement onto the back bodies. Alright, so we'll just move the fabric a little bit and make our mark on the back bodies. Alright, you remove your front bodies using your ruler, connect the points which you have marked. Remember, this top is not going to have any darts because it's a free top. Okay, now go ahead and split the back bodies on the fold. We will go in by 1/2 inch from the center back on the waistline. We'll mark 1/2 inch there. Okay, then from the seam allowance line, we'll come in also by 1/2 inch and put our mark. All right, so we'll connect it from the neckline to the waistline, okay, and also to the hemline, just like I'm doing it. Okay, so that's from the waistline, the 1/2 inch that we went in, and also from the neckline, touching the 1/2 inch we went in with. So from the hemline also, or from the seam line, we go in also by that 1/2 and we mark. On that 1/2 also, we touch the seam line at the bottom. Guys, I hope you understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand, you can go and watch my basic bodies tutorial. That would help you to understand clearly. So after we connect the lines, we cut out the excess. I've gone ahead to cut out my lining for both the front and back bodies. You can see it. You can see it. That's for the back bodies and this is for the front bodies. Okay, so the next thing after that is to cut out the slit opening in the front. I'll be measuring 5 inches from the neckline down on both the fabric and also the lining. I'll use my scissors and cut it open. I have gone ahead to join the lining and the fabric at the split on the neckline, right side facing right side, by about 1/4 inch. So I'm just flipping the lining behind and see what it looks like so far. Okay, taking the back fabric and lining, we will run our stitch to close it up at the center back using 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, this is what it looks like after we have closed it up. We have done both the fabric and the lining. You see it? All right, now we're going to be joining the front bodies and the back bodies at the shoulder. All right, so the first thing we do is to place the lining of the back bodies right side facing up, taking the front bodies, place on the back lining, lining facing lining. Taking the back bodies, place it over the front bodies, right side facing right side. Taking both front and back bodies at the shoulder, you stitch it at the shoulder allowance. You also take both the lining, front and back lining, you stitch it also at the shoulder. After joining at the shoulder, both lining and the fabric, I've also gone ahead to stitch it at the armhole. So this is what I have so far. I've given it a good press so you can see how lovely it's looking now. It's looking all flat, and I top stitched it. But please don't forget to notch the joining allowance at the armhole inside the top. Don't forget to notch so that it can curve easily. I notched it also, so everything is laying flat and nice. You can see it. I also top stitch the split at the neckline. To make the ruffles that you'll be using at the neckline, you first of all measure the entire neckline. The total length is 16 inches, so we double that, making 32 inches length and 3 inches width for the ruffle strip. You turn the strip right side, facing right side, unfold, and close each end with a straight stitch and turn right side out. Then run the longest stitch on your machine on the folded open end through the 32 inches length, then pull thread to form the ruffles. We are going to cut out 2 strips of 1.5 inches by 22 inches that we're going to use as a rope that will be tied at the neck. You pull the thread of the ruffles to get a total length of 16 inches. You attach it to the neckline, then holding it in place with a pin before stitching with your machine. We are done stitching the ruffles to the fabric. It's already looking good. So I cut out a strip of bias measuring 1.5 by 19. This will be used to cover or finish the joining of the ruffles to make it look neat inside. From the starting point, fold about 1 inch of the bias inside, then start to stitch round the neckline. Folding in with about 1 inch, you place the bias on the ruffles right side of strip facing the ruffles and begin to stitch from the starting point of the ruffles till you go all round. Before you get to the end, fold in about 1 inch like you did in the beginning, and if there is excess strip, cut out and finish up your stitching. After we are done with that, we now fold the strip to cover the rough edges by tucking in the remaining strip under the allowance, like so. You tuck it in carefully. You don't have to be in a hurry so that you can get a good result. You see? Then you stitch till the end. Okay? But before we begin stitching, put your rope in place under the bias, then you can start to stitch. As you go, keep tucking it properly, then stitch until you get to the end. Don't mind me. At this point, I had to use my small screwdriver to tuck in the remaining part of the bias under the allowance to give it a neat finish. And don't forget to insert the second rope at the other end. It's looking good. Now we'll close up the sides. We open up the blouse like so. Using 1 inch allowance, we take right side facing right side of both satin and lining, stretching it out, then we sew it straight down on both sides of the blouse. When we are done with that, we will go to the bottom of the blouse, grabbing both lining and satin, fold in by 1 inch hem allowance and stitch both the front and the back bodies. Then we'll be done. This is the end result, guys. What do you think? Please let me know in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed this tutorial or have found it helpful, please subscribe if you haven't. Give me a thumbs up and share to your family and friends. Thanks to all my old and new subscribers. See you in my next video. Bye.